him. Great. Firstly, I want to tell every one of you hello and welcome. The reason why we have a deaf interpreter is because I moved to the US 6 months back and I have picked up ASL again. So I am going to be use a mix of ASL and ISL. So it's better if a deaf interpreter is there to, just be clear in Indian Sign Language. I am so happy to see all of you all here and reconnect with the deaf community in India. This is the Pride Month, and we're going to have so many activities, so many presentations, so much of awareness videos coming up, a lot in store. And before we begin, let me tell you all that today is one special day because today is Teachers' Day. So, wishing you all a very happy Teachers' Day. And let's just remember who taught us in this time and they helped us grow. And we are able to connect with Dr. Vashisht at the same time to connect it with education today. I would like to share that if you remember each other's, teachers and someone who taught you and someone you taught, it's a whole circle. So we're all teachers here. And the other good news, good interesting thing that is happening is DLP, Deaf Leadership Program, project program, and it's happening now in Bangalore with 38 people together in Bangalore, and including Sapan. So this is going to be a full 10-day learning experience on how they can become better leaders. So watch out for that. And also Dr. Vashish's presentation. I definitely want to be there for DLP, but I'm so happy to see how it's progressing, and it's amazing. And now we will start with Dr. Vashisht coming in, joining in, and I see that he's already here. Today is a holiday in the US till Monday. Yeah. And Dr. Madan Vashish wanted to be a part of this and tell about his new book that has come up. So I'm really grateful that he's been able to come and give his valuable 1 hour to all of us. Before we begin, I would like to tell how I met Dr. Madan. I met him in 2006 when I was visiting India for Deaf Expo in Coimbatore, and I had come there and we were just socializing, and I was so interested in part of supporting the deaf community, the advocacy, etc. And I happened to met him there, and he told me that I have to do PhD. And I was an MA at that time. I had done my postgrad, and he told me that you have to do your PhD. It's important. Why? Once you've done the PhD, important people, automatically people will start respecting you. So then I went back to the US in Gallaudet University, and I started the PhD. And my teacher was Dr. Vashisht. He was my teacher, and once I finished my PhD and I was, in the end, I was his last student. I was his last PhD student. So huge, huge respect for him. And I would like to welcome Dr. Vashish now. Great. Yes, we can see you. Firstly, my question to you, if you can give a short background about yourself, your brief, please. I'm going to keep it short. I was born hearing, and at the age of 11, I had a hearing loss while I was sleeping. And when I woke up, suddenly I couldn't hear. And I didn't know why it had happened. I was in the village for 10 years and I was working there in the village with the cows and with the field. And I didn't know what my life was going to hold at that time. I started reading books, started learning different things. And I passed my class 10th. And then I went to Delhi, and I started taking pictures, and I was working there as a photographer for 6 years. And there was this American deaf lady who came and told me about Gallaudet University again and again, and I didn't know at that time. And I wrote an exam, and I got a full grant to go to Gallaudet University and study. And 6 years down the line, after I, completed my PhD, I started working there as a teacher and in the school. And I was managing the whole staff, the professors, and everyone. And at the same time, I started writing, and I published 8 researches, one book as well, storybooks, basically. The deaf history. I've written a lot about deaf history, um, deaf education. A lot of people are not aware about how to go about deaf education. There's no reach out. Where did it begin? How did it begin? Etc. There's no written material, documentation done. And that's when I felt that I had to get a grant to come to India and start the research, start writing about when did different schools start, when did the education start. And I started documenting it under the title A to Z History of the Deaf Education in India. And I have been tirelessly working in the area. So, I sweat a lot when I'm writing this, and it has been a lot of hard work and very rewarding. I've been able to connect to it. And reading this, it is available on Amazon as well in the US. In the US, it's for 5,000 rupees. And on Amazon, you can just download it from Amazon and keep it, and you can read it for a cheaper cost. So that's what we've been doing. So from where did the first education start? Was in the south of India, in a name from K, Kolkata school, Bombay school, and 3 schools basically it has been researched about and gradually expanded. So now we see that there are huge, 800 deaf schools all throughout the country. Of course, there are, but it's very difficult to catch where the history has been to document it. And we were able to document it in Lucknow as well. And there are a few schools in Lucknow which are using sign language as well, but the schools have been shut off. So they have been converted into a library. We don't know what the rationale and the reasoning has been behind. So there's a lot of information that's already available there. And so there's not much of a documentation that has been done. So it's been a great joy to see whatever little bit we've been able to find, but not much. It's not complete, not full. And when I met so many deaf people, and people asked me if I would want to go to more schools and start writing about them, be it in Lucknow, Kolkata, etc., different schools. So all that has been written there, and the book became thicker and thicker while I was writing it, possibly. So we do know there are different areas where there can be history. There is COF, deaf, and there has been one book which was written prior to that, 80 years back, and that book has some evidences, but there's nothing about India in that book. There are different countries, be it the US, be it different Germany, France, etc., Finland. But I was looking for where I can find something about India, and I wanted to do that. But this book, which had everything about the world but not about India, but I think now we have been able to curate a book which is thicker than that book in India. But there's still a lot more research that is needed. And so far, deaf teachers, of course, we don't know, there have not been no deaf teachers, and such less research. So in the 1800 years, there were four deaf teachers who had set up schools, who were the principal of deaf schools. They were there. But now we don't have any reminiscence of them to know where they are. The CSD school, the principal who had also gone to the Gallaudet University in 1890 and learned about different things, and that how all has been recorded and documented, that there have been deaf teachers. But of course, all this was sidelined and people didn't really want to recognize them, and it was a lot of hard work which they had put in. So it is a mandate to have deaf teachers, and 70% more of it, there have been hearing teachers who do sign, and someone who's supporting oralism, etc., is okay. We do respect that fact. However, to be a professional deaf Indian in terms of education, it's okay, whoever it can be, a person who's a speech user, etc. That's not an important thing. But being understanding the deaf identity is important, and it's yeah, because I don't hear, I can't, I don't. So there's no benefit of that. So 80% of the deaf people don't get any benefit from speech therapy, but sign language is the best way of communication for deaf people, has been the best. And even in India, I am, I've been seeing that deaf children are able to connect best with the deaf kids, deaf teachers, and they feel confident about it. They feel that they are learning something. And now, all these hearing teachers, we are seeing that deaf kids are not able to really understand, and they feel like a failure because, all the teachers that they're looking at are hearing, and it's ingrained in them, and they feel that they will not be able to progress. So, that kind of acceptance has also got through. However, when a deaf teacher comes in the room and the deaf kids start seeing, they feel that they can achieve something. In India, the population is huge. Deaf Indians are huge. But do we know how many PhDs are there? 2, 3. Me, Suji, me and Dr. Alim. And there's Raji and a few. 4 or 5 to say. There's Gaurav, who's a PhD. And their names are there. Let's just say, to be safe, 10. And people who are actually living in India themselves, deaf themselves, who are 10th pass, 12th pass, BA, MA, PhD, who know their rights. We need people who have to have that in India. Learning, but the quality of education is obviously not good in India. And there are so many ITI courses that are running in India, be it the computer courses, there are medical courses, then there are different ITI courses that are there in India. The deaf people definitely can do these courses. Deaf can, but there's no initiation, there's no push to them. It's quite slow because deaf teachers are not there. And if that is done, eventually things will bloom better. Let's talk about deaf colleges. The salaries are not there. And who would actually be wanting to go ahead and do this? It's you guys. You, all of you, all on this call. You must go and not say, I'm not going to do this. How about you do this? Let's not point fingers at each other and take it on ourselves to do it. We end up saying that, it's not my job, but it is our job to work together and progress and do for the deaf. I'm quite happy to see Dr. Alim being able to broadcast more and more messages, meet more and more deaf people, consult so many, and without and thinking about himself. So thank you for, you keep doing that. You don't work in silos, you don't work in your own team, you're not secretive about anything, and not working alone. So we do hear that we don't know about the Here a Million project, and it says here a million, HAM. The word here, it can also be like see, a million. Yeah. Yeah, I have a question. I have a few questions for you. Firstly, thank you so much for the wonderful book that you've written, in-depth book about deaf education in India. And does this book show the history of oralism and the transition to signs, transition to sign language? Does it show that? There's no transition. It's more of, 2-3 schools who have adapted it. Especially the indoor school. All the teachers sign there. They're mostly deaf teachers, and they have to have a certificate. All hearing people must be perfect signers, good signers.
So we switch.
Okay.
So when we talk about the Gurugram school, they are hiring deaf teachers, and you can see over there. So when there is a need, they need more deaf teachers, and they are actually hiring. So when the deaf people do the certified course, so later on there would be a possibility that we might remove the audiologist. Sapan got frozen. Okay, let's go ahead. So, oh, okay, hold on. Sapan got frozen. Okay. So can we have the another interpreter? Or maybe you can go ahead. So it's better to encourage all the people and then you will grow up. So like Dr. Alim, you have asked me, right? Yeah. So now the Indian government, they have the institution NCERT and CIET. They have the institutions which they are trying to include the Indian Sign Language. But how do you feel? I mean, this is actually changing and translating the academic books into the ISL. Do you think that is it possible? It will help deaf children in the education. It will help them in a better manner. What do you think? I think yeah. The members of the like associations, they are trying to pushing the government, but still there are the hearing people in NCERT. I have I went there and tried to explain, and they were like that they are not getting anything. So it's like the people who have come to the disability field but still are not having the complete knowledge. So it's mandatory to have a deaf expert over there. And also we have the ISLRTC, and it's like ISLRTC and NCERT, they have signed the MOU, but who is coordinating it? It's mandatory to have a deaf person over there. Mr. Narayanan from National Association of the Deaf, uh, they have tried to involve the deaf person over there in NCERT, whether it's a male or female, but it's mandatory to have a deaf person over there that who can actually coordinate about the ISL translation. So there are hearing, they don't know about the ISL and they are not aware, and they are still working on the translation part. So the need is to have a director in ISLRTC, a deaf director. Right now we don't have it over there. That's how we can go ahead and work better. So all the deaf people, you should not keep mum, and you actually should visit the NAD office, National Association of Deaf, or AIFD. We have Sunil, he's the president. So you can talk to them like what you can do further, and you can just be friend with them. We have a DFDW, Deaf Foundation of Deaf Women. You should do a protest like so that you can get a deaf director in ISLRTC. Don't keep mum and not reacting to the things which are happening right now in our society. So it's like we are it's difficult for us to be united, but it's more important to be together. So rather blaming each other, it would be better to unite with each other, and then government would see. They laugh on the deaf community, when they see that yeah, deaf people are not united and blaming each other. So that would be better when you will unite with other organization and you have a strong unity where you can oppose the government. But right now we can see it's easy to blame other people, right, for not doing such thing. World is not perfect, everyone does a mistake, but it's better to come together and work on it. So Dr. Alim Singh, yes, it's a good idea. I hope that yeah, we will do things together, and we will do hard work, and we'll try the advocacy on it. Yes, education, all of the things, I know that everything required to have a deaf person. And when we think about the literacy, yes, teach deaf person whether they can read or write. It's mandatory for the teachers also. How we can make the changes here in India? The government, the teachers in the schools, they they have the permanent jobs, and there's no changes. Like if they are get the permanent job, then there is no change for them. Like how we can change the situation for the teachers so that deaf children can get the better quality education? What do you think? How we can suggest? So we can ask them. We can discuss our points, whatever we require for our uh, deaf children, whether they might, we try to negotiate with them, whether they might get agree, we might try to indulge with them. So with the leaders, they all have to come together. In India, we have deaf leaders, two, three, four strong deaf leaders have to come together and work unitedly. As you can see that our honorable Prime Minister Modi has been handling all of the things so strongly. You can also work, right? So it's nothing like, sometimes what happened, like you see that this person is working good, let's work with that person, then you go ahead with another person. No, it should be like that, you work and try and ask the people who would like to work, and who they would ready to give their time. So that, like, we have Narayanan from NAD, I would suggest to come together. And we have Uma also from DFDW. So it's a women's association. If you will not have women in your group, then it, you will still have a clashes. So it would be better to have a equal members. So to get the attention of all other people, you should have a woman in your group as well, so that you can get the attention of the government, and government will start to hear your thoughts as well. So the deaf people, the deaf leaders, 50 maybe 50 deaf male and 50 deaf female can come together, and they can see what they can do, right? So we have 49, 45, and 55% ratio of men and 45% of women. So do you think that you can reach at a better place? So in December, I'm going to come in November, and December, I'm going to come in India. I would like to talk with the deaf leaders, and I would like them to come together on Zoom. Uh, it's not my cup of tea. I'm not able to talk with all the people here. It's like it's tough and wave hands on everyone, like, hear me, I would like to talk to you. So it would be better to meet in person. I know that there's a long way to go, but yeah, we can still start and we can see how we can do much better. I think Dr. Alim, if you will also be there, uh, okay, 2 3 points maybe I can discuss with you. Maybe we can discuss in our we can make our agenda and we can decide how we can go. If you think that, yeah, we in August or maybe later on at after some time, if you think we can make something better, so we can make a group and we can come together, we can discuss with each other, we can get the funds from the government setup also, from AIFD or National Institution of the Deaf. They can also help us with the funds, and people who are not able to come by their own end. So maybe we can provide funds to them and we can discuss. We can make a collective group where deaf people can come and yeah. So we need one deaf person. That's how that deaf person can involve the other leaders. DEAF. We do not want it to be separate. We want it to be together. Yes, so it's a good idea. I know there are a lot of deaf people who actually want to come together and want to discuss. But when they come together, they feel so inspired. They would like to do a lot of things. But when they go back to their home, they do nothing. So how to change that situation and how we can push them to work harder. So it's like we have to ask them to come again and again, and we have to request them. Yes, I know, I understand. Uh, but I think slowly we will uh, achieve. If we will have a bigger group, maybe we can try, we can inform the leaders like Sunil, Narayanan. They can ask the other people to come together. And that's how I think we can manage. But do you think, every time people come together and they discuss, they feel better, right? And they think that, yeah, now we would like to do for our society. So it's more important to have a detailed discussion rather just doing, rather just, wasting that time and discussing our personal things. No, you should have a deep conversation with other people. So the water, it should go through the roots also of the tree. If it will go on the branches, that will not make a difference. Yeah, I do agree with you. So this is a big reason. That's why deaf leadership program we started, and we thought that, yeah, Narayanan, Sunil, and Sibaji and me, we all are here, and we have already, we are kind of getting old right now. So we get tired as well. So we need young people who can work faster, and so that we can support them, and later on they can support the our younger and coming future generations. But yeah, that's the right point, you said correctly. We do need to have a deaf woman too, so that we can they can also work with us. Like we have Preeti, we have other female deaf also who can work with us. So yeah, we will see if they would be interested to work along with us, and we will definitely think on it. Madan, Dr. Madan here. So as you said that like we have Sibaji, around 44 people like who are crossing 40 years age. I am 81, but still, you can't remove me from here. It's okay. I'm still working. So if I would, if I would come uh, uh, in front of everybody, then people would say, we have Dr. Madan, we don't need to do it. No, I will be the only tree, and then you all will be the plant. So I want you to grow like a tree, like me. So you're saying that you are 81. That's good. You have a golden heart, and you still feel young inside your inner self. You feel that you are young. So I know that yeah, some people, maybe in America, there are who want to. They have come to the India and who have done PhD, and they who have come to validate, and they thought that yeah, earlier they had the experience. They thought how uh, we can help the Indian deaf people like who want to do PhD or who want to study further. Do you think that yeah, we can, provide anything, like we can set up any new school or college? Is it possible to set up something for the deaf people in India? So the new school, setting up the new school, the principal, the teacher, and all the people, the mandate should be that everyone should know ISL. That should be a mandate. So like in India, when we see, for example, when we are some people might switch to the other places, like Dr. Alim, like you came back to the Australia, and some people might be getting married and they are engaging in other work. So some people might have done their work to the roots of the trees, and now they might be switching to the other places. So it's mandatory to help the other people so that they can also succeed. If yeah, we can ask it from the government as well, if they would be ready to support us, then yeah, we can work on it. Like we have Arathe here. So Arti, Bilal's wife, she is here, and we can also work. We can take their help as well. We can have Bilal also, and we can have a good connection. So we can still think, and we can figure out it. So why I saw that there are 8 women who have done PhD, and that's a good. They could be a good influencer for the other deaf people. So yeah, in India, maybe we can think about the deaf people might able to do PhD. Yes, I do agree with you that we can have someone from here who can consult. Give advice to them and consult them. So after I have you, like you have published the book now, what's your next step? So just roughly, I think so. You know, like my wife used to tell me like, what you're doing. So I've told her that yeah, I'm trying to work in the for the deaf community. So she told me that you have your group also. You should get you should meet with the other deaf people as well. So it's like that I want to work with the deaf people. So I told her that I want to write a novel so that I can provide it to the other deaf people, and it's more important so that people can also read it, right? The problem is I don't want to get I don't want to get seated idly. I always try to look out for the things what I can do, and I can get involved with the other people. So what makes me happy when the young deaf people, if they will unite and work together, if they will not, mingle with me, so what would be the use of it? 81, I am 81 years old, and now the I would like the younger generation to follow our path. It's like we are, I mean, trying to utilize their young blood. So, like, you like writing the books and the novels. I know there are people, including me, that I would like to write a book about the stories of the deaf people in India, about uh, their struggles, what they have experienced in their life. So, how we can start? I mean, writing. There are some deaf people who don't have a good command over English language, but they are already have the English in their mind and they would like to start writing. How would you like to do? It's a good idea. Uh, you have the sign language. You can record your video and you can give it to the person who can actually translate it to the English language, right? Yeah, we can help you out. You can provide me. I can also help you out. So if you can sign your story and I will translate to the English language. But I might not be a good signer. A person who can sign ASL and also or a person who have a good English, you can give your video to that person. I know you will be sharing your story and you can note down all the points, things which you have, I mean the things for which you have struggled in your life. So if you have a hearing person and like hearing wife and she is harassing you, you might not feel comfortable, you might be a victim of the domestic violence. So for example, if a woman and her parents, they are giving money to her, and if you would like to write something, for example, you say you want to marry to a deaf person, but the parents, they will ask you to get married to a hearing person. They will like, no, 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 you should get married to a hearing person only. There is no problem, right? But there is a misconception where where the parents think that it's not to be get married to a deaf person. So you say that, yeah, they can record the video and then they can provide you, right? And you can do the translation, right? Okay, yes. So now we are ready with the questions. I have one more. We can take it later on. Yeah. So people, you can come and ask your queries now.
Manisha, switch.
Okay.
Sapan? Yeah. So now we'll be beginning with questions. Sapan can ask questions if he needed. And I definitely want more women to ask questions as much as we want men to be there. Even transgender people, whoever wants to ask question, queer, LGBTQ. There's one person who has raised the hand, please. Okay, great. Sapan will translate from ASL to ISL, also ISL to ASL if needed. Can you just turn your laptop a bit straight? I see it fine. Okay, fine. My name is Avinash Rana, and this is my sign. And I am studying DEd course, and I'm in my second year. So my question is, be it the NOD or AIFT or any association who are working towards advocacy, schools, etc. And they've been advocating for so many years, but we don't really see much of a thing, changing in the society. I want to see change come in. So, what has been the reason so far that everything is stagnant? Probably you stand up. Why don't you do it? You don't ask why are they not doing it. How about you go? And you're also a leader. You have leadership in you. You stand up. You show. You show you have the ability to do it. And as you grow, more and more people will join you. You will become a leader. People will start following you. I just want to add here, Dr. Allen, here. That's a good ask question that you asked. But the important thing is that you have a plan. That what goal do you want to achieve? If you're ready, to meet and everything, what are you going to talk about? Do you have the ideas ready? Do you have the strategy ready? So it's important that you strategize, you plan, you work out a team, show what the issue is, what the problem is, and what ideas do you have. That is more important. But yeah, I definitely want to encourage people to become leaders and not just like be lazy. Yeah. Yeah, but of course I'm not sure how I can be guided, plus I'm young. I do want to support that, but how I do it, you guys all have experiences. And if I know that I'm ready to do all these things, I think then it'll be easier. See, yeah, go ahead, Dr. Alam. I just want to tell that, like you said, you're coming in November. How about you have a training for young people? Yeah, we'll have one for you. Okay. I was just gonna say that long back, when I was 20-year-old, and I came to Delhi. The first time I met deaf people, I didn't sign, and I didn't know what sign language was all about. And I was scratching my head at that time that what are they doing with their hands? And I didn't really like people looking at me like a deaf person, and they asked me to sign. And then I started picking up. I joined the community. Then DAD association started, and I got into it, and I became a leader myself. Became the GS. Worked for so long. Same as you also start, pick up, and start with myself first, with me, not with someone else. You do what you do, and we want to see that. Okay, thank you. Next question. Thank you, Avinash. Can we have women come in, please? Don't shy away. Great. Finally, first women. You're, yeah. Sapan, can you sign that again? What did you say? You are same like Rajni Jini. Yeah.
He means Rani ki
Rani ki
Jhansi.
Jhansi ki Rani. Okay, Rani. Okay. So quite an impactful presentation. And what is your name, please? Sorry. My name is AKA and Akansha. My name is Akanksha, and this is my sign, Akansha. Okay. So my question is that we're talking about deaf history here, and what about women? Do you have you included deaf women? Have you included deaf women businesses, etc.? See, in the four deaf schools, it's all been male. It's been male dominated, and there have been a few hearing women, but again foreigners who sailed throughout and set up a deaf school and have deaf therapy, etc. And more of charitable trusts, more of Christian missions. And deaf women, no. How about you do something about that? I hope so. I am involved in deaf youth, women, etc. So hopefully I'll roll up my sleeves and do something about it. Thank you. Great job. Thank you. Men, can we get back to you? Anyone? We don't bite. Yeah. You've just said in the end 5 times. How about just you ask, Dr. Alim? Okay, go ahead, Lokesh. My name is Lokesh Prasad, and I'm from Mumbai, Bombay. I am a deaf person. This is my sign. Namaste to you all, respected people. Over to you. So, in Mumbai, when I was studying in a school, and it was quite a sad situation there to see the focus being on oral approach. When I was growing up in Gujarat, it was all sign. But when I moved to Mumbai, the approach was all oral, and it was quite shocking to see. I couldn't understand why people were like emphasizing on speech. And we thought that we would go against it, and deaf people didn't want to join me at that time when I wanted to protest against that. So, oh, I think Sapan's internet's gone again. Go ahead, go ahead. I'll support you. See, this situation in Mumbai, which you're talking about, that deaf people coming together and going in to the school outside, like protesting or, yeah, first we have to, just say please. We have to request first before just attacking. First thing that we need to do is, you have to accommodate a few deaf people together instead of working in silos. Everyone's like working in silos. And I mean, it's very difficult to be one. Everyone has their own way of working. So if you work together, that is good. In different groups in Maharashtra, of course, there is people working in different groups. So it's important that you all work together and desperately ask for what you really want. You really want sign language to come in schools, and it's not going to be enough just having 4 or 5 deaf people. We need 500. We need 500 together. See, no, simple thing is that teachers just end up telling us things, and yeah, they're not able to really recognize what's happening. So a lot of deaf people are scared at that time that teachers would take them for granted and not really respect them, or tell their families bad about them. I know that's the worry. You have to work together on how Bombay deaf people can come together, and not just one person working, looking down on each other. That's going to be tough. Delhi also, it's the same, but Mumbai, I've seen it's much more. Yeah. See, I just want to add here, possibly if it's a big problem, you feel if it's a big problem, just reach out to the associations in Maharashtra, and probably ask NAID, AIFD to be a part of it. If it's an important thing you want to advocate about, I'm sure they'll be able to help you out. But first, it's important you take it forward with the, yeah, they're all working north, south, and I mean, it can't work like, like that. Can't work like that, yeah. See, I know in Maharashtra, people have been doing a lot of advocacy work. See, you're able to see advocacy work, but inside the schools, the situation is very different. Inside the schools, if you go and if you see, it's all oral. So yeah, of course, we see a lot of negative things. So we have to try and see and work together. How that will happen is something we have to figure out. When I'll come and talk to you all and request you all, I mean, you have to really like do the pleasing work. I think it's important that all deaf people have to work together in unity and get this advocacy done. Of course, I can't work in silos. I can't work alone. If everyone's working together, so yeah, I think then it's more impactful decision that can be done. I'm sorry, your signs are very low, so it's difficult to see you. Can you go back? Yeah, much better. Earlier, I wasn't able to see you. Sorry. So, in unity, we can do the advocacy. In strength, in unity. Of course, I can't do it alone. I cannot do it alone. I can't work alone. So, the important thing is that we have to discuss together. And you know this place, Dadar, in Mumbai? There are two schools there. And I was just reading about it and I found out that it's all oral. And I explained them, that why ISL is needed, etc. I spoke to the principal in Hindi, and the teacher was looking at me, and I was asking a few questions. That it just says it's not written in the PWD Act, the Persons with Disability Act. It only says oralism. It doesn't talk about sign language. So that was a pointer that I learned. Yeah. See, I think to grab hearing person's attention here, uh, like Dr. Randhawa, for example. She is a hearing individual who also transitioned from oral methodology to sign language. And now she's able to explain to so many people that I also believe the same way and it wasn't working out. And then I learned the benefit of sign language. So many teachers get in awe and then they listen to her. But for you, they're not listening to you because teacher themselves are hearing people right now and the experience is a bit different. Yeah, I understand. See, I definitely need that. Um, we need to we need to really promote Indian Sign Language. Otherwise, generations will go illiterate again, and we don't want our generations to be illiterate. That train has to stop. We have to advocate and get our childs to develop, our children to develop. That's a very good thought. That's a very good thought. Just want to add here, in Indians, the book which you are talking about, the pictures, etc. Can I also buy it? Of course, of course. Can I make an art work out of it? I mean, I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, sure. It depends. Good idea. I'm not promising that I'm going to be able to do it, but I am in the UPSC right now. I'm studying for it. So yeah, in the future. Great. I hope that was clear. Thank you. One little thing. So I'm so sorry. We'll have to stop you because there's so many people waiting in line for questions. So sorry. Yeah, just we'll take last two. I have to rush after that. Yeah, let's just take last two questions. Some people have just asked in the chat window. I'm going to ask that. So your book, that possibly can that be translated in Indian Sign Language, or what's the plan like? No, no. Your book, History of Deaf Education, that book, can that be translated in Indian Sign Language? So we have to request the people who are. I'm asking Dr. Madan, not Lokesh. Yeah, it has to be. But because I know that people are not going to be reading in English, so it has to be translated in ISL. How do we do that? Is we need a publication, and Ish probably can do this, or Gurgaon school can do this. We have certain options. We'll see. All of us coming together and probably record. Yeah, great. There's another question. We can have the last question now. Great. What's the time? I actually have to leave. I have to pack and leave. So you can just send me, Tushar can send me just, all the questions and I'll just answer them. Yeah, sure. Can we take this last one? Sure. It's been nice. Oh, of course, she's already on the screen. Let's take it. Let's take it. Fine, fine. Keep it short, please. So, my name is Sangeeta, and this is my sign. I just want to ask that, you were saying that we need to have more men and women come in the picture together, but we're having only people from age 18 to 40 here. Why not like people 40 plus be a part of this? Firstly, women don't have to, stay behind. They have to come in the front and say that, this is what we want. This is the leadership rights we want. And if men are taking in picture, just come forward. In India, the prime minister was there before, right? The Indira Gandhi. So she changed the world. And she became like that. Even, WFT president and all those areas, we should definitely encourage women to get in and get through and show that, instead of just saying that nobody's asking me, nobody's telling me to come, instead of waiting for someone to pick me, just go there, out there. Just go out there. I understand that, but age factor I'm asking about. What about women who are age 50, 60? They are not allowed in the leadership discussions, etc. Age.
Should we switch?
Okay.
Yeah, I understand, but they have, I mean, given their time, given their times, but still, some people, they are not looking up for the other things. Maybe they can, they are, I mean, looking at the cricket matches and all. I think it's better. You should not uh, waste your time on the unnecessary things. It's better, you need to balance and you need to adjust the things and involve in other things as well and try to help other deaf people too. I hope it's clear, and I'm glad to see you. But AIFD and also NAD, they should have a deaf woman on the higher post also. So it's nothing like that we have to have a male, deaf male. So you're having a female deaf woman that would have a better connection along with the associations too. So the lady Thata in UK, she's already said if you need you want to communicate, if you are having a male, but if you want to just discuss, then have a male. If you want to actually work, then have a woman instead. Okay, understood. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Madam, for your time. If people they have more queries, we will be collecting the queries from them and then you can answer. Okay. Yes, I'm so glad to while talking with all the people. I have to leave now. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Bye, Dr. Madan. Yeah. Bye, Dr. Madan. Now, for the people who still have queries and you would like to ask, and we can note down your queries, and then we will ask Dr. Madan, and then he can respond to us. If no question, yeah, you can send us the video also on WhatsApp. You can send to the Hera Milan group, and then we can send it. We can forward it to Dr. Madan, or if you still want to ask, you can. We can still go ahead. No questions. Can see that people still have raised their hand. Yeah. So I would like to say hello to Dr. Madan and Dr. Alim. My name is Parmar, and this is my sign name. So my question is related to the leadership. I would also like to encourage the other people, but while encouraging other people, I myself become weak while supporting other people. So how I can be strong? What do you mean by weak? Like I'm a deaf person and I'm trying to help other people, but automatically I'm somehow losing my way and feeling like that I'm the weakest person. I'm not able to help other people. Good question, but I think all the people in the deaf community who are deaf leaders, they have already experienced this, and they have done so much hard work, and they always feel that they don't have much capacity to work. Then again, they stood up and for their own rights. So when you are fighting for the deaf rights, I know that there would be things that you might be trying to do the advocacy work. So earlier, we don't have women leaders, but they also try to. They are still struggling for their own right. It's not over yet. Always men dominated the society. Likewise, in the deaf community also, it's not you that you are alone. I mean, it's mandatory to have a deaf team. So where you can have a support and you can support each other as well. Thank you for your answer. But yeah, one important thing, planning. So, you just say that, yeah, I want all the teachers to sign, but how you will go ahead with it? You need to have a steps. They don't know. Like we should be ready to propose the things. We should be ready to support each other also. So that's the more important thing. Yeah, understood. That's clear. Thank you. Other one? Hello, Sanjana. You can go ahead. I think she can't see us. I think she is using mobile. Sanjana, can you see me? I don't see whose name you are spelling. Who? Click on the window where Dr. Alim is showing. Maybe she need to swipe the screen. It's confusing. Whose name you are saying? Hi, hello, Amit. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, hello. My name is Amit, and I was looking at the presentation like the people were discussing how they are explaining the things about the PhD and all. So the leaders here in India, whether they are from north, south, east, west, they are working in silos. They have their own groups. At the same time, I would like to suggest how many people are there. I mean, I would like to support the organizations, how we can work together, like as a team in east or maybe in west side, so that both of the sides can support each other. We can have leaders, and also hearing people can also include in that, and we can have a mainstream group and making a one group so that we can do the advocacy work. So sometimes, if you would like to discuss anything to the government, they want it in a written format. So I think that's more important. It's not enough. We still have to work together, not in silos, but to have a people from all of the four directions, like north, south, east, and west, and like helping each other, and then we can walk faster and better. So the most important thing to have a hearing people along with us. We are not removing hearing people from our community. We still need to have the interpreters, teachers, and the audiologists, speech therapists, all of the people we need to require. We need to aware them, because it's more important for the deaf people to have the ISL and the deaf culture for the communication, all of the things. It will make a impact, a bigger impact. So here a million, they are planning to have all of the organizations so that we can give them a platform so that they can utilize it, because we want associations and other organizations to come together, and they will also do the advocacy work. I mean, doing advocacy in silos, that will not make a bigger impact. So working together unitedly, that would be much better. It's not easy, to have all the people at one place. It will take time. It's like trusting. It's a process of trusting each other. So while we are gaining the trust and they are also trusting us, that's how we will begin, right? Maybe you can set up something where you can have a one group, and you can have the people from all of these states. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Hello. Yes, Vaibhavi, we can see you. Vaibhavi, yeah. Hi. So I'm from Pune. So we have a hearing. I have a hearing family from childhood. I have been learning speech therapy and all. I've been trying that. So in my family, I can feel connected with the. I don't feel connected with the signers, and I can't communicate with them. So I'm still struggling now. Now I have grown up, and I think no, I want to learn ISL. I've seen that, yeah, I thought that I have to learn ISL, the words to understand the meaning of the things. It's quite difficult. While, I mean, what other people are saying, we are missing on the facial expressions. It's like we can easily become fool, because through the people who think that, yeah, we can easily understand through reading lips and all the things, that they can easily make us fool. So this is the thing I thought that I would like to learn ISL. For example, love, what would be the meaning of learn? So I want, like, ISL for us, that in that way we can easily communicate with other people 24 hours. But now, in so the IQ, it's not equivalent to the hearing people. When I see the deaf people, the deaf leaders, they are trying to help, but I don't think they are actually helping. So it's like, we are getting help from our family. So the deaf means, I mean, the leader, they are supposed to help other deaf people. But here in Pune, there is a lot of problem here. So in the university, if we are not getting that opportunity to get into the university, and the children whose parents are there and they think that they should go for the speech therapy and they might not able to get to the higher education, they are going to the speech therapy, and but they know that yeah, it's useless. But the speech therapist and the audiologist, they are just getting the benefit from it, just the monetary benefit, but it's a illegal thing, and and deaf people are losing on their life. They are not getting the benefit out of it. It's easy to do the course for the ISL, but for the speech therapy it will be a lifetime loss for us. So I don't think that speech therapy would anyway benefit the deaf children. Can we become equivalent to the hearing people? Can we speak as per like how the hearing people speaks? No. But still hearing people look down on us. They think that we are not equivalent to them, but our parents, they forced us to go for speech therapy. It's like we are being like of the like rabbit. So if we are not getting to the higher education, we can't study in higher setup. So hearing teachers are not good, they don't know ISL. If we have the teacher, if we have the less teachers who know ISL, I think it we should not get it longer. We should start something now. We have to empower other deaf people. It's a slow process, then it will uh, there would be deaf people who will lose on their education and they will not able to cope up. So there are parents, who are spending on cochlear implant and the speech therapy, and they're not aware these all things are useless. The deaf people, it's a big problem for them, and it create a chaos as well. I understand your story and you are sharing. Maybe we can discuss all day. Yes, I understand. But there are the things that we can discuss here, but it's not in India only, it's all across the world. But the main problem here is there are many people, in India as well, they are missing on the awareness part. They are not aware that ISL is actually benefiting the deaf community, and they are not aware of it. So that's why they push on the speech therapy. But yeah, I am seeing the change. It's a slow change, but yeah, I know government have added the ISL as a subject. I know it will going to make a change, but yeah, it's a slow process, I understand. uh it's not possible to answer you briefly here, but yeah, here in India or in the other countries, there are in countries where the sign language has been recognized. So that's a language, that's a complete language. And yeah, we still have the uh, WFD, World Federation of the Deaf, they are still spreading across the information related to it. So we have less than 1% of deaf people all over the world. So that's quite less. So we have the transgender people. If if the transgender people get to know that in any of the family, the child who has born is a transgender, they usually take the child along with them. So likewise, you can inform the other people when the children is starting with the speech therapy. We can explain them, and we can spread across the information also, and then people will get to know. Let me clarify you something. In my opinion, the oralism is not completely bad. You know, it's some people are also succeeding through the speech therapy also. 5%, just 5%. Yeah, I understand your point, but the sign language, it should be a first language of a child. The child should learn first language. Yes, they can get better in their life and they can develop their skills also. That's okay. Who would like to go to the speech therapy? But yeah, still, sign language is the key for deaf person. It's not like we would not like to criticize the speech therapy. They also not aware that what sign language could make a change in the deaf people's life. So I think we need to make aware the deaf community and also the hearing community and also the audiologists, the doctors and the speech therapists. So that's how the things will go better. If you are interested, you can get involved and you can support. So there's a woman, so Damni, she's a lawyer, deaf lawyer. So she's ready and she's still advocating. You can connect with her and you can support her. Sure, sure, definitely. I know there are other people who would like to ask the queries. Thank you so much for your question. We will take the last question now. Hello. Hi. I have 2 points here to share with you. DDISL course. So it's the course for the teachers. In Andhra Pradesh, we use Telugu language. So we use in Telugu language here. So deaf community is also using that. So in Indore, in ISLR, TC, in Haryana Welfare Society, deaf people are learning English language. And when they are coming back to the Andhra Pradesh, their hometown, so the government, Andhra Pradesh, they say that they need a deaf teacher to know Telugu language also. So there's a barrier, which they are facing. So that was, I was imagining what we can do in that situation. So I'm not the right person to answer your question, but I think that's a good question. I know that this is a problem. Like the all the states, they have their own regional language and they ask other people. So for deaf people, it would be ISL and English and regional language. So I think it's more important to do the advocacy to unite with other people also, and then you can have it as an option and not the mandatory one. So you can have the ISL and English over there. So maybe the government is not aware. Yes, so you need to discuss with your association of the other deaf people. You can make a group and you can discuss with them. So I know that in India the big challenge is with the language only. Same with the interpreters, we have less interpreters because in all the states some we have interpreters. In some places we don't have interpreters at all. In Gujarat we don't have. So how we will solve this situation? So this is the thing. Yeah, and the second thing, in Andhra Pradesh, the people who are using the deaf people, we you think that we need to have a hearing people also along with us so that we can explain them as well, and they will also get to know the signing of deaf community. It's something you think that we can develop better while having a mainstream group, people who knows the Telugu language, and maybe they can try to connect with other people. So I again told you that I am not the linguist. I'm not the person who have the linguistic background. So we would have a other person who can better answer you. And thank you for your question. So now we are done with it. But thank you so much for joining the session. I hope it was a interesting one. Also, you asked great questions, and the presentation made by Dr. Madan Vashi that were also good. If you have a query, you can send us on the social media and we can ask him to answer. So next week we have Amita. So she will be coming and she will be representing. She is also an deaf interpreter, certified deaf interpreter. So she is pursuing PhD in sign language from Gallaudet University, and she would be discussing about the challenges being faced by the interpreters, and what would be the future where we will be having more certified deaf interpreter or the hearing interpreters. So next Monday we will be having the another presenter. Thank you so much. Please be here and please fill the feedback form. If you are interested for the other topics, you can let us know and we can host the webinar on that. Thank you, interpreters and the hearing interpreters and the deaf interpreters, for providing the accessibility. I know deaf leadership program, the people who are in DLP, they are still there. I'm not able to come over there, but thank you so much for still doing your sessions. Thank you.